it's like, how do we make changes easier, right? I'm always looking for the easy way out. If you know me, it's like I'm always looking to hire the easy ones. Recruit the easy ones and make my life easier. So, and I don't think I'm much different than most people in that sense. But how do we make our habits easier? And everything we do is based on a habit, or like we've just been designed that way, basically. So the good news is we can change negative habits and we can create new habits, new positive habits. That's the good news. Now, it also takes work. So there you go. I'll share how, some of the things I've done. I'm not perfect by any means. I have made changes though in my life. Can you see this? Can everybody see that?
100%.
Okay, see, it even says here his name, James Clear, right? So I'm giving him all the credit about this book. And what he said was on this first page, he said this: so you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And Alex kept saying that several times in the meeting. And I was like, that's interesting. So you don't rise to the level of your goals, but we talk about goals all the time, right? I mean, it's like the number one thing that we talk about, which is a good thing, but you fall to the level of your systems. And so I was like, what does that mean? So basically what we have goals and then we have systems. And so the goals are good because they give you a direction. It gives you a direction, but the system actually gives you the process. It shows you the steps you need to take to get there, to get to the goals. So then this gives you the results. What are the results you're looking for? You need the direction to get to the results that we're looking for, but the process and the system is good because it gives you the progress, because you make progress with that. In the book, he talks about the latent potential, right? And so this linear line right here, this is exactly what we think should happen. I think I'm going to make all these phone calls and I'm going to make money tomorrow. I'm going to make 100 grand. But this is actually what reality is. This is what actually happens. What happens is we take steps. I don't know if you can see this right here, but on the time, the results, there aren't any results in the beginning. You all know this: losing weight, running, starting, and just any kind of starting new habit, right? The results just don't seem like they're going to come. It actually does. It all adds up. That's his point. It's 1% better every day. Tiny little habits add up to big, big results. This point right here in the middle is the valley of disappointment. He calls it, we call it the valley of despair. The valley of disappointment. This is where people quit. This is where we lose it. This is where we make some phone calls. If you've ever hired somebody or if you felt this way, you've made phone calls. And we've had people doing that and then not come back the next time. Why? Because they quit. Because it didn't happen on this linear line. It happens like this. Because there's a lot of failure between this point right here. There's a lot of failure between that and this. Okay, once we can get beyond that, then when we start winning, really, that's when we start massive action. So 1% better every day is what James Clear talks about in this book. And so when you read it, you'll see this, but the effects of small habits compound over time. For example, if you just get 1% better every day, you end up with 37% better over the course of a year. Now, I didn't do these numbers. This isn't from me. This is from him statistically. Like he puts it in the book. But basically, it's a 1% improvement. This is the line of time, right? This is where you don't see much happening. But then you can get 37% better if you just do 1% better every day. Not massive action necessarily, but 1% better every day. And then also, if you do 1% worse every day, the decline it starts to go down as well. Over time, you end up pretty close to zero. Right? Anyway, most of these people right here that don't get any better at all, typically what they do in our business, which is what I'm going to talk about today, but you can do this with anything, is they quit or they leave or they blame us. But right here, see where it's kind of going up? he doesn't put this in this book. This is what I added. This is where the massive action kind of comes into play. It's once you're winning, most people take more action once they have more confidence. So I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what I believe to be true. So, because I still believe that massive action creates massive results, but we've got to get our daily habits going to every day and not quitting. So there's 3 layers of behavior. There's a change in your identity. There can be a change in your process and a change in your outcome. The next slide kind of shows this. Most people want a change in their outcome first, but it really has to start from the inside and out in order to create the result that you're looking for. We got to change our identity. In the next slide, I have an example of that. So outcome-based habits are results driven. Basically, it's from the outer to the inner. Identity-based habits are from the inner, who am I? Who do I want to become? To what I achieve. The outcome-based is results-oriented. Like I said, it's more like what I want to, focused on what I want to achieve versus who I really am. As an example here, I'll give you an example here. I wanted to run a marathon, or I still want to run a marathon, but I started with a half marathon and I wanted to run a marathon. That was the outcome that I wanted. I wanted to say that I ran a half marathon. And so I worked towards that and I did it. I became a half marathon runner. I did that. But my issue was I was an outcome based because it didn't really form a habit of me being a runner, which is really what I want. So my identity was results driven versus being, I want to be a runner. I am a runner. That's who I am. That's my identity. So it's, who do you wish to become? Who do you want to be deep down? And that's really where lasting change comes from. But so you can base your goals on the identity and the habits that you want to achieve. James Clear talks about this habit loop. Every habit starts with a cue. There's some kind of cue. You may not even know what it is when it's happening, but there's a cue that creates a craving or a wanting for something. This is where the dopamine hit comes in. It's the anticipation of something that creates a craving. And then the response is what action you're going to take, based on that. And then the reward is whatever it is that you get. And this loop runs every part of our life from the time that we wake up. This is from his book. It talks about it runs every part of our life from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed at night. There's these habits that we do. Okay. And the key in my mind in this whole thing is, if we're aware of the cues, we can, and what our craving is, once that cue hits, then we can start changing the response, right? But if we're not aware of something, it just keeps going and going. We're continually scanning, predicting what cues there are and what will happen next, and then what our responses will be. And then we can learn from all those results. But so implementation, how do we start? I'll just tell you, this is in this book. This is straight from that book. But I started doing what I'm telling you on this page. As a very minimum, I started doing this so I could become aware of what are the cues that are going on. And I'm still working on this because I need to do it multiple times throughout my days to see what are my real cues. But definitely starting this if you can. So he calls it a habit scorecard. It's just making a list of everything you do without questioning it, without like saying, oh, I shouldn't do that, without being mean to yourself. Just make a list of everything that you do from the time that your alarm goes off or whatever, or the time you get up all the way till the end of the night. And it'll tell you a lot about yourself. I'm not telling you something I didn't do. I did this and I do want to do it again because I know there's probably things I've missed. Alarm goes off. What do? Wake up or hit snooze, right? No judgment. I'm just telling you what I did. I wrote down hit snooze on a couple of the days I was doing this, but on a couple of days I was like, I wake up and get out of bed, right? I brush my teeth because I like to brush my teeth. And then I wasn't flossing as much as I'm going to come back to this because I wasn't flossing as much as I wanted to. I would floss occasionally, right? So I wasn't doing that. And then, et cetera. And then, workout, shower, et cetera. get my coffee, whatever. I'm just telling you, everything that I'm telling you right now is something I did. So yours will be totally different, and that's totally fine. But I just want you to understand that I did this. If I can do that, you can do that. It's pretty easy to do, but it makes you aware of what you're doing, which is really the key. Then you say, is this a good habit or a bad habit or a neutral habit? Again, it's still no judgment. It's just looking at it. Is this a good habit? Write a plus next to it. If it's a bad habit, write a negative next to it. If it's a neutral habit, write equal, right? So if I hit my alarm, or if I hit and got out of bed, that's a plus in my mind. If I hit my alarm and hit snooze, that's to me a negative. Again, why do I keep repeating this, Joseph? Is because I don't want people to be judging themselves so badly. All I want you to do, or what this book is become aware of what it is you do, what it is we do, right? Instead of life controlling us, we can control our lives. So you have to be aware of that. I tried to do it as I was doing it. I just brought a notebook with me. Not like this one, but similar to this one. It was smaller, and I just jotted down, what do I do? And then the last question here is, does this behavior help me become the person I wish to be? Even if we don't do all these things, if we just take this statement and just, I don't know, apply it to our day or apply it to our behaviors or activities, I think that might even just help us, just if that was the only thing we did. So easy implementation. Remember, I'm always looking for the easy way. This is out of the book too. Goal is to simply notice what's going on. Again, become aware. And from there, determine what habits you want to focus on. Here's one of the big keys. And I've read other books on habits. In fact, I have another one I'm getting ready to read. Here's what I do know. If we try to change everything all at once, nothing will change for you on a consistent basis. Think of one thing you want to do or two things that you want to change and focus on those first, and then implement the others as you move along. Broadly, hey, when this situation rises, I will perform Y. I use the snooze thing. When the alarm goes off, I will do what? I will whatever the behavior is at whatever time. That's what you're talking about, Pam. Maybe have a time that you're doing it in what location. For an example, I will say my prayers or read my Bible at, 6:30, I think it is that I do it, in my sitting area. I have a sitting area next to my kitchen. That's where I do that. So again, think about what you want to add in and where you will do it and the time that you will do it. It'll help those habits start solidifying themselves. All right. So create good habits and break bad habits. So positive and negative, right? The habit loop, it's cue, craving, response, reward. So make it obvious. If it's a good habit, he talks in this book about making it obvious. If you want to create a good habit, make it obvious. If you want to eat fruit or if you want to eat, I don't know, let's just say fruit. You want to eat some more fruit. Put the bowl on the counter or somewhere that you can easily grab that, and not put the apples in the bottom of the crisper thing where they get rotten. If they're anything like me, they just get old and rotten, right? In the crisper thing. Right. So make it obvious, make it stand out to you. So, and then breaking bad habits, make them invisible. If you don't want to eat junk food, let's not have junk food on the counter ready to eat, right? Craving is the next thing. So for craving, he says, make it attractive, and to break a bad habit, make it unattractive. And we're going to go into more details on some of these things he talks about on the next couple pages. I guess if you're trying to lose weight, you could put a picture of you. I've done this before too. Okay, so here you go. If you don't want to eat as much, take a picture of when maybe you weighed more than you were hoping. Stick that on the fridge. I've done that. So anyway, I need to do that now. But okay. Make it easy. Your response. Make your response easy. What action are you going to take? Make it easy. Breaking bad habits, make them difficult. And then reward, make the reward satisfying, and to break a bad habit, make that reward unsatisfying. It's the anticipation, by the way, it's the anticipation of the reward that makes you want to take action, not the actual reward. It's not the fulfillment of what we're trying to achieve. It's not necessarily that big goal. It's the anticipation of receiving that goal. All right, so this is the cues. Remember the cue, okay? That starts it all. So make it obvious. So write down your current habits. Use this I will behavior at this time and location. I wrote that down. Okay, habit stacking. This is what I started to do. Habit stacking has been big for me so far. So basically, after remember I told you I wanted to floss and stuff more. After I brush my teeth, I will floss, right? So that I stacked that on top of that habit. Well, remember the first habit I wanted to do was stop hitting snooze and get my butt out of bed, right? So after I started that, then it was, okay, these other habits I already had, and then it became brushing my teeth, and then flossing got added into there. And I'm fired up about it. I feel so good just from that one habit. But that made me feel good. And then the other thing that I wanted to add in, so it's like the next thing, what's the next thing you add in? So work out, read my Bible, or say prayers, or spend time with God in the morning, right? So it was like, get my coffee. Then I wanted to add that in. So I started adding that in. I've been very consistent with that too over the last month or two. So it's not I'm adding all these habits in at once, but I'm stacking them up on top of each other throughout the day. Now, you say, how does this affect my business? Well, I think this affects all of us. If we can create a habit in our personal life that's good for us, we can create a habit in our business side. So what we could do is we could add one good habit in our personal life and one good habit in our business life, right? So what's your good habit in your business life, Noelle? I wanted to reach out and talk to 3 people that I hadn't talked to or never talked to before. 3 new people that I'd never talked to before, whether in width or depth. That's what I added in as a business. And so I'm working on other things, but this is big right here. Create the right environment for the new habit. He talks about it a lot in this book, creating the right environment. Like the Apple thing. Creating that environment where you have healthy food out versus having snack foods on the counter or snack foods in the pantry. That's just one example. But he also talks in this book, and I didn't write it down, and I forget where it's at in this, but he talks about making one area of your house the place to sleep, one area of your house the place to read, one area of your house to eat, one area to say your prayers. So I started doing that too. I forget what he calls it in this book, but it's making your sleeping in your bedroom. That's what you do in your bedroom, and not associating a habit of eating ice cream in your bed at night. Not that I ever did that, anybody. Make it invisible. Remove the trigger from the environment. Remove that cue from your environment. So again, it's back on your environment. Take that away. If you don't want to eat the snack foods, then don't have them in your house. Don't have them easily to grab. If you have them, lock them up. It talks about pairing a habit with an action that you need to do. So you pair a habit that you want to do, something that you want to do, with an action that you need to do first. So that way you can get the need to do done, and then you can do what you want to do, right? All right, so do something you enjoy immediately before a difficult habit. So do something, he talks about doing something fun, kind of having the reward before you do the difficult thing. So you have to do the difficult thing though, or something that you don't want to do. So let's say in this scenario, you have, the making phone calls scenario. Well, do something you enjoy before that. Maybe take a walk around the neighborhood if you enjoy that. Associate, again, there's that word again, associate with people that demonstrate the behavior. You have that I fit in feeling when you do that. So again, it's associating with the people that have the behavior that you want to create. Not that have the negative behavior that you don't want to create, right? You got to get rid of those associations. Talks in here about how we imitate the habits of three groups of people. The close, which is typically friends and family. Being close is very powerful, right? You know, from being around people, we talk about it in our business. It's like, who do you associate with? Are you associating with the negative people who aren't running business? Or are you talking to the positive people who are making money and running business, right? So just remember, proximity is powerful. And then the many, which is the tribe, the group, the feeling like I want to fit in. I want to be around the team. The many will help you continue to create those habits that you're looking for. Now, remember, again, it's the many of who are you associating with, right? So if you're talking to many, drug dealers, you probably don't want to hang around with them. But if you're talking to many positive people or successful people, that's a power of the group, or peer pressure can be positive or negative, right? And then the powerful, he calls it the powerful, but it's those people with status or prestige or people that are successful, right? I mean, we kind of look to those for, approval, respect, praise. We love it when it's coming with somebody that we look up to and respect like that. People that have success, people that are powerful in that sense, right? Not that they have power over you, but they just have the respect of, their peers, so to speak. All right. And then make it unattractive. Highlight in your mind the benefit of avoiding the bad habit. I don't know if you feel like me before, but something that I know, like maybe I have a cue and a craving, to eat, let's say I eat a gallon of ice cream. I never did that, Joseph. I've never done that. A pint. Yeah. But let's say that I have that craving or the cue, whatever, I'm bored, whatever the cue can be that you're just bored, right? When you scroll social media, if you're like me, I just bored, right? But the cue, craving, well, I'll just eat some ice cream, right? And then afterwards, I feel bad. I feel terrible. I was like, well, why did I do that, right? So highlight in your mind the benefit of avoiding that and not having that feeling before you take the action or that towards that feeling. Hopefully this is making sense. It's more difficult. I'm not going to lie to you. It is more difficult to eliminate bad habits than it is to create new habits. He talks about it in that book. And then highlight, I just wrote 3 here. He doesn't put this in that book, but I feel like highlighting 3 people to spend less time with. Andy talks about that. He's always talked about who are 3 people that you need to spend more time with. That would come in probably this group right here, successful people. Who are 3 people that you need to spend more time with? And then also, who are 3 people that you need to spend less time with? I've done this in my life. So, and I think it's helped me because, sometimes it's hard because it is people that we love. It is our family and our friends. But in order to create these habits and make these life changes that we want to do, sometimes we have to do the hard. So the response, what's your response? What action do you take? So make it easy, right? We want an action that's going to be easy, right? So reduce the number of steps it takes to take that action. So this is big. So it's like with making phone calls, let's say, or dialing, it's like reduce the number of steps. Have your leads already printed out and laid out ahead of time before dial day, before you get on the phone. So reduce the number of steps it takes for you to actually just pick up the phone and dial. In this business, that would be one of those. Master the decisive moment. It's like, what do you do there? You just do it. I mean, just like when it's time, just pick up the phone and make the phone call. Or when it's time, just, turn off your alarm and get out of bed, whatever it is. Create habits that can be done in 2 minutes or less. There you go, Pam. He says that in the book. So if you make them shorter, sometimes you're able to stack them easier too, like brushing, flossing, right? It doesn't take a lot of time. You can do them in a little bit of time. Make it a game. This is what I like. Okay, so make it a game. He calls it don't break the chain, meaning if you're tracking, however many days you do something, you use technology, by the way. I use an app called Streaks. I've told a few people about this. I've been using this for years. There's probably other things that you can do. I don't like to break the chain on my app. So whatever my goal, whatever I put in here, like I have read 10 pages a night in here. I have my prayers in here. I have no sodas in here. Okay. So I haven't had a soda or a Diet Coke or Sprite or any kind of soda in 1,960 days. That's pretty good. So that's kind of the app I use. I don't know if you can see it, but that's the app I use. And I don't like to break the chain. I use the technology. I was doing this before to help me with this, and it gives me notifications. I'm not promoting this at all, but I am promoting of making it a game because I think it is fun when we make it a game. And then it'll give me notifications if I haven't clicked that I'm done with that stuff for the night, and I get mad when I still have open slots. When I have open slots, I get upset. So anyway, that's helped me. Make it difficult. Increase the number of steps it takes to do whatever that negative thing is that you're going to do, right? The reward, make it satisfying. These guys are drinking beers. They're actually drinking juice, okay? But cheers. Give yourself an immediate reward. So once you do the positive habit, then give yourself an immediate reward after that. And then again, still make it a game and keep your streak going. That is satisfying to me. I don't know if I added that in or if he had it, but that is satisfying to me to make it just to make it a game is fun. Never miss twice. Get back on track quick. He talks about this. If you miss one day of flossing, don't get mad at yourself, Noelle. Just pick up where you left off and do it the next day, right? If you don't make as many phone calls, or if you miss making dials, or if you don't help as many families, don't worry about it. We're getting 1% better every day. Okay, so just pick up where you left off and keep going again. Make it unsatisfying. Get an accountability partner and ask them to monitor your behavior. You hear sometimes people want an accountability partner. They just don't want to hear what the accountability partner has to say about how they did, right? But if you ask them to monitor exactly how you're doing and give you real criticism, nobody likes that. That's unsatisfying, right? But that's what you do sometimes when you're breaking a habit. When I was doing 75 hard, I didn't want to tell Mike I was doing it, but I did because I wanted him to monitor to tell me, oh, have you done your second workout today or whatever it was, right? So that was unsatisfying because I didn't want to have him as accountability partner, but it did help me get through that. Create a habit contract. Make it public and painful. He talks about this, writing it down. Writing your contract. I will do this at this time in this place, etc., and then signing it and then giving it to someone else to have them sign it so that they can see it. So I don't know about you, that sounds unsatisfying, but if you're trying to break a habit, a negative habit, it's a powerful thing. All right, so let's go change our lives. Remember, being aware of the cues. And when you have the desire to change, we can get 1% every day and change our lives for the better. I know I mentioned some small things, but the small things are the big things. But it's really helped me remember that, yes, I want massive results, but massive results come from consistency over a period of time, right? And when you see this, when I know that I did the thing, I feel better about myself, even though I don't see the change yet, or I haven't created the habit yet.